You're on a winning streak. 3 days in a row, 5 days in a row, maybe longer. And it feels like, well, there's no other word for it, but it feels like flying. You're sharp, you're clear, you're reading the market like it's speaking directly to you. Every entry is clean, every exit is timed perfectly. The account is growing, and with it, something else is growing too. Something that feels better than money, something that feels like, I am good at this. I matter. I am enough. And you want more of that feeling, so you size up just a little because you're hot right now, and hot streaks don't last forever, and you want to capture every point of this while it's here, and it works even bigger this time. So you size up again, and the wins keep coming, and the feeling keeps building, and somewhere in the back of your mind there's a voice, quiet, easy to ignore, that says, maybe slow down. But you don't hear it, or you hear it and you don't listen because nothing has felt this good in a long time, maybe ever. And then the market shifts and you stay in because, well, it always comes back. It always has before, and it goes further against you. And you add to the position, because the feeling says, well, this is where the big win is. This is the one. And it keeps going and going for days. And you keep thinking, oh, tomorrow it'll reverse. Until the day it doesn't. Until the day the brokerage makes a decision for you. And you sit in the silence that follows. And the feeling, that beautiful, electric, I am enough feeling, is completely gone. And what's left is something you've known your whole life. The quiet, the emptiness, the thing you were trading to escape. I know this feeling. Not from a textbook, not from a client's story, but my own account, or my own life. And today in this final video of our series, I'm going to tell you the truth about the Euphoric Overtrader. All of it. Welcome back to the Healing Trade. I'm Devin, certified life coach specializing in childhood trauma, Reiki master and 13-year trader across stocks, options, and futures. This is the 5th and final archetype in our series. And if you've been here for all of them, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that. You've watched 5 videos about the most painful, most hidden parts of your trading life. You've sat with the panic seller, the revenge trader, the freezer, the overwriter, and you came back for this one. That takes courage, real courage. This is a Euphoric Overtrader, and this one, more than any other, is my story. So let's go all the way in. The Euphoric Overtrader is the hardest archetype to identify in themselves and others because on the outside they look like they're winning. Bold trades, big positions, confidence that fills the room, a string of wins that makes everyone around them wonder, how are they doing that? They're not struggling, they're flying until they're not. Because here's what nobody sees. The Euphoric Overtrader isn't trading for profit. They're trading for the feeling. The win is the drug, not metaphorically, neurologically. A big win floods the brain with dopamine in almost exactly the same way substances do. The same reward pathway, the same hit, the same craving for more. And like any addiction, over time you need more of it to feel the same thing. Bigger positions, higher risk, more action. And like any addiction, the crash that follows the high gets darker each time. The Euphoric Overtrader cycles through this relentlessly. Big win, euphoria, size up, bigger win, more euphoria, size up again, One catastrophic loss, shame. Desperate attempt to get the feeling back, another loss, devastation. And the account that was up $40, $60, $100,000, suddenly gone. Sometimes more than gone. From the outside, it looks like greed. From the inside, it feels like survival. Because the feeling that winning produces, that I am enough, I'm worthy, I'm seen, isn't greed. It's hunger for something that had nothing to do with the market. The euphoric overtrader grew up in an environment where feeling good, feeling worthy, feeling loved, feeling seen was unpredictable. Maybe love was conditional, tied to performance, tied to being exceptional. And when you were exceptional, when you shone brightly enough, there were moments of feeling truly chosen, truly special. But those moments never lasted. Maybe there was a parent who was sometimes fully present and sometimes completely absent, physically or emotionally. And when they were present, you were their favorite. When you had their full attention, it felt like the sun was coming out. And then they'd leave or withdraw. Or the attention would shift to someone else, and you'd spend your energy trying to recreate that feeling, trying to be special enough, bright enough, exceptional enough to get it back. And a winning trade gives you that feeling instantly, without having to be perfect for anyone, just you and the market. And when it fades, and it always fades, you need another one. I know this because I lived it. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market, and I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market, sometimes in the same year. And I didn't fully understand why I couldn't stop, why I kept giving it all back. And then April 2025 came. Trump's tariffs hit the market like a freight train. I was already in, big, over-leveraged, in a way that made sense coming from options, but was catastrophic in futures. And I stayed in because it always came back. Because the feeling said, this is where the big one is. This is a trade that changes everything. And it didn't come back. Not for days. It went down and down and down until the brokerage took me out, only to rip up the very next day. The damage was done. The money? Gone. I want to be honest with you about something. I had all the credentials. I'd done years of healing work. I knew about childhood wounds and nervous system responses and trauma patterns. I was a certified trauma coach, after all, a Reiki master, a 13-year trader. And I still got taken out. I want you to really hear that. Not as a reason to distrust what I'm sharing with you, but as proof of the most important thing I've ever learned. Knowledge alone doesn't heal the nervous system. And until the nervous system heals, the wound will find a way to drive the car. No matter how much you know, no matter how long you've been trading, no matter how much healing work you've done along the way. And I'm not standing here having figured it all out from a safe distance. I'm standing here from inside the healing. Because the traders who need this work, most don't need someone who claims perfection. They need someone who survived the worst, came back swinging anyway. And that's why I'm here. Not because I have all the answers, but because I refuse to let the wound have the last word. Not because I was stupid, not because I didn't know how to trade, but because I was a euphoric overtrader who had never fully healed the wound underneath the winning. I was chasing a feeling that no trade is ever going to give me permanently, because that feeling that I am enough, I am worthy, I am loved, it doesn't come from the market. It never did. It was always supposed to come from inside, and nobody ever taught me how to find it there. I grew up with a father who was my favorite person in the world. And I was his, but he was hardly ever there. Over-the-road truck driver, gone more than he was home, gambling addict. And that feeling of being chosen by him was the most electric feeling I knew as a child. And then he'd leave again. And I'd spend the time he was gone trying to recreate that feeling somehow, trying to be special enough, bright enough, exceptional enough to deserve that kind of love when he came back. And my mother, whose love came with conditions and perfectionism and a bar that kept moving, couldn't fill the space. So I learned to chase the feeling in ways I didn't understand until recently. And then I sat down at a trading screen, and a big win gave me that feeling, that chosen feeling, that I am enough feeling, until April of last year, when the market showed me with devastating clarity that no trade, no winning streak, no account balance was ever going to give me what I was actually looking for. And the money I lost, as devastating as it was, as much shame as I've carried about it, was the moment I finally stopped running and started healing for real this time. Because I looked at that wreckage and I thought, man, if this happened to me, a certified trauma coach, a Reiki master, someone who knew all the tools, how many traders out there are sitting in their own version of this, completely alone, with no language for what happened to them? And the answer was, too many. So I built this for them, for you, for me. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the healing, okay? So what does healing look like for the euphoric overtrader? Okay, well, it starts with what I call the feeling inventory, because the euphoric overtrader doesn't have a sizing problem. They have a feeling problem. And until we identify what feeling they're actually chasing, the behavior will never change. So here's how it works. After your next big win, before you place another trade, I want you to sit quietly for 5 minutes, no charts, no phone, just you, and answer these 3 questions in your journal. Question 1, what am I feeling right now? Name it specifically, not good, not confident, go deeper. Euphoric? Invincible? Worthy? Seen? Loved? Chosen? The more specific the word, the closer you are to the wound. Question 2. When have I felt this feeling before? Not in trading, in life, in childhood. Who was there? What was happening? How old were you? Because that feeling has a history. And the trade just triggered the memory of it. Question 3. What am I afraid will happen when this feeling fades? This is the one that opens everything. Because the euphoric overtrader sizes up, not because they're greedy, but because they're terrified of the feeling going away, of going back to the quiet, the ordinary, the not enough. Name that fear. Write it down. Look at it, because when you can see the fear clearly, you can begin to separate from your trading decisions. You can begin to say, I feel the fear of the feeling fading, and I'm going to let this trade be what it is, not a rescue, not a drug, just a trade. That's the beginning of healing the euphoric overtrader. And the deeper work, the reparenting, the rebuilding of inner worthiness that doesn't depend on a winning trade, that's what the course is for. If today landed, if you recognized that chase, that hunger, that electric feeling that never quite lasts long enough, I want to point you to something specific. Week 5 of the Healing Trade course is called Redefining Success. Because the euphoric overtrader's deepest work is learning what success actually means when it's not measured in dopamine or by your P&L. When it's not measured in account balance, when it comes from something that can't be taken away in a single trading session. And for those of you ready to go all the way, week 8 is called Rebirth. And it is the most important week in the entire course. Because rebirth isn't possible without the crash. Without, in the tarot cards, it's the tower, like crashing down, burning up, exploding, imploding, so that a new life, a new person, a new form can start to build. And if you're watching this, you probably already had yours. The full journey is 9 weeks. It's a self-directed course with a companion workbook available separately. One-on-one coaching sessions with me are also available, and that's where we go deepest together, one-on-one, at your pace, into your story. Everything is linked in the description below. You've been chasing a feeling that was never in the market. It's time to find it where it actually lives, in you. And that is the end of the series. 5 archetypes, 5 wounds, 5 paths home. If you've watched this entire series, I want you to know something. You are not broken. You never were. You are someone who learned to survive an environment that asks too much of you, too young. And you brought those survival strategies to the trading screen because that's what humans do. We bring all of ourselves everywhere we go. The work isn't about becoming a different person. It's about finally being safe enough to be who you actually are. And that work, that beautiful, difficult, sacred work, is exactly what's coming next on this channel. Next series, we're going to begin building the practices, the tools, the reparenting work, week by week, piece by piece. And I want to introduce something to you that I built that I believe is going to change a lot for many traders, a fellowship, a community, an anonymous space where traders come together to heal, not to talk strategy, not to share signals, but to do the real work together. It's called Overtraders Anonymous, and it exists because no one should have to do this alone. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. Share this series with someone who needs it, someone who's been sitting in silence wondering why they keep doing what they keep doing. Send them the first video. It might change their life. Drop a comment below and tell me, which archetype are you? And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here, for trusting me with your story and letting me share mine. This channel exists because of you. And remember, the most important trade you'll ever make is the one you make with yourself. I'll see you very soon. I love you.